what are the biggest issues that you believe are facing Senate District 46?
I think family, marriage, and family are the most critical. That's the building block of everything else. If we don't get that right, everything else is going to be uh, confusion and troublesome. But getting marriage and family right is very important.
Can you kind of explain what you mean, you know, in the sense of marriage and family? Like, can you just kind of go into detail of what you mean by that?
Sure. Um, I was taught school for 5 years, and I've worked with um, a young boys ages 5 and 6 in our church program, and I've worked with them for 40 years. And the thing that is so difficult is so many of the children live with one parent or grandparents. How many live with their grandparents is maybe the majority, uh, but certainly a lot. And they just, in a lot of the cases, the dad is not there. And that is such a difficult thing for children. So that's why I say whatever we can do to assist in marriages. Marriage is hard. It's a hard thing. But my how can we support marriages? And then that will solve a lot of problems for children if they have a stable marriage. And the dad, particularly, moms do all they can and they're doing a great job, but nothing can replace the dad. He's a key figure in every marriage, and in so many marriages he's just not there. In so many families he's just not there. So that's why I say marriage and family is critically important. I believe the governor has is working hard and is making great strides in improving marriages uh, and families, but that's a key part.
So whoever is will win this seat in next month is replacing leader Kay Floyd, who she's been in that role for 10 years. Obviously, she's
Yeah,
turned out. So and she's really earned the respect of the entire chamber, not just Democrats but Republicans as well. So
yes.
how do you feel like you can fill that void of that of Kay Floyd?
First of all, I'm not a politician. I'm a heat and air guy. I've been a mechanical contractor for 40 years. And so politics, that side of it is new to me, although my wife and I, we've always voted. We research the candidates and we vote. And so I said that to say when I walked into register for the office, the first guy, I asked him, can you tell me where I register for office? So he said, well, you just go right over there to that table. And he said, what office are you registering for? And I said, for 46. He said, oh, Kay Floyd. We really admire Kay Floyd here. And that's all I've heard in the Capitol is admiration for Kay Floyd. Now, could you repeat your question again? I chased that rabbit
No,
and
you're good. You're good. So what do you? I mean, obviously, like you said, I mean, you've witnessed it. She is very she's done
well liked.
yeah, and bipartisanly. I mean, she is respected by Democrats and Republicans. So, how can you what do you want to bring to this seat if you do win? How can you fill that void of her not being in the Capitol now? And what are any things that you want to emulate in your term that Floyd brought?
I'm, the theme of my campaign is truth and justice. That's what I think we have to have in politics, and that's not taking any way from the senator there, but I am a constitutionalist. That's what makes America America, but I'm also a conservative in my values. That means being a conservative means I believe in smaller government, lower taxes. I will do everything I can to move government out of the people. I'm sorry, out of the people's lives. Uh, things like small business, and I've been in small business for 40 years. Regulations really impact small business a lot. And though some regulations are necessary, you can be overregulated to where it chokes you and your business is struggling because of regulations. Um, so in business wise, that's what I see. And being conservative, I believe in smaller government and lower taxes. When I came to Oklahoma 40 years ago, the tax rate was 3%, and now it's 9, and they would go over that, if they could. I know, our government locally here, we had a chance. We okayed an inch and a penny and a half increase temporary. And so that pushed it up to 9. And then recently they had a chance that temporary tax expired. So they had a chance to just let it expire, but they sent out a message telling us all kinds of bad things are going to happen if we don't okay it. So it got okayed. So the tax that could have been reduced was kept the same. And, when you think about your taxes, you've got your income tax, and then you've got your property tax. And then you have tax on everything that you buy, 9% basically, except they're working to decrease like grocery tax. And once a year we get a break on when school comes back at reducing, no tax on clothes and different school things. Anyway, taxes are too high. You have to pay a tax on your car. When you buy a car, you pay, a significant tax. Property taxes, they go up every year. When we bought this house 35 years ago, our taxes were close to 1,000. Now they're about 2,000. All of these taxes reduce your available income to spend on your family. Anyway, I'm for lower taxes.
A big question for Oklahomans specifically, because we do have some of the strongest bans in the country, is abortion. And so we're kind of asking candidates what their stance is on abortion, and also the bans that are currently in place, your thoughts on those, and if they should be repealed or if they should, be changed at all, or what your opinions on that.
Here's my main opinion. Adoption is a better option for the mother and the children. I'm against abortion certainly for the child. That child is a citizen. He's entitled to all the rights of the Constitution, but that's not even considered in abortion. Abortion started by railroading a young little 16-year-old girl for the sake of the attorneys that were there. If you read, where did this thing start? And then how many girls today are coerced into abortion? By who? Their boyfriends, in some cases the husband, some cases the parents or the grandparents, and the girls are coerced. A significant percentage of them say, yeah, I was coerced. And they don't tell us the hazards of it. And many, many times, if a girl sees the videos of her little baby inside, she will change her mind. and that has happened many. I am entirely sympathetic for the young girls. They were lied to begin with. They said, "Oh, just our culture encourages it," and little girls in trouble, young girls in trouble, 15, 16, 17, they are not given the facts of it. And one of the worst things is the new abortion pills. I saw a billboard going on my way to Dallas, and a full-size billboard on I-35 going south shows a man, and he's got two pills in his hand, and it says, "Wish you were unpregnant." Anyway, that because these young girls, they can get those without their parents' permission, and they just say, "Take this pill," and then wait a little while, or I don't remember what the time is, and then you take this other pill. Well, the first pill kills the baby. The second pill causes a miscarriage. Now, the girls could do this without any doctor seeing them. What if her pregnancy is ectopic? Or what if she has other problems? What if she has a venereal disease? All these things add in, and she's just taking this without really being informed. Anyway, I could say more, but I'll stop there.
No, you're fine. Do you have any different thoughts on terms of rape or incest?
That is such a tragedy that I don't want to interfere with somebody's decision on that. I still believe adoption is a better choice for that. But, and I don't condemn young girls anyway for that. What I condemn doctors that do it, and media that pushes this, and certainly Planned Parenthood, who, maybe I'm saying too much here, who pushes this, and that's their big deal. It should be called Planned Unparenthood. Anyway, that's the way. But I sympathize totally with these young girls that are in trouble, and I think we should do everything we can to help them. If they have the baby, let's do everything that we can to have the baby. But let's suggest that adoption is a better option for the mother, and certainly for the little baby. If any, maybe that's enough.
A big topic in the news in Oklahoma specifically, but it's gone across the country now, is education. And so specifically Superintendent Ryan Walters. So my question is, do you support the superintendent and kind of his agenda and what he wants to do moving forward in his administration? And if not, what do you think should be done?
I do support Ryan Walters and his agenda. First of all, removing pornographic media from the schools. They have no place in the schools, especially not in younger children. They are grooming kindergartners and first and second graders into a lifestyle they are promoting. But none of that has any business in schools at all. They don't need it. Pornography, this is a multi-billion dollar industry that is supporting and encouraging human trafficking. Anyway, it has no place in schools. And the second item is the Bible, and that's what they're saying. Their statement, of course, is separation of church and state. That is not accurate. Separation of church and state means the government stays out of the church. It does not mean the church stays out of government. The original 13 colonies, all 13 colonies, you had to declare your religious beliefs in being in that colony. Every colony had a state church. They had a colony church, I should say. Nothing mandated by the federal government. That statement, separation of church and state, was from a church wrote to Thomas Jefferson, thinking that the federal government was going to start a federal church. That's why they came to America, to get away from the Church of England, where they dictated everything. And if you didn't go by the Church of England's doctrine, you were banned. You lost jobs, you were put in jail, your family was separated, many were persecuted, and that was the issue that this church was writing to Thomas Jefferson. And Thomas Jefferson's reply was, there is a wall of separation between the church and the state. But this has been turned around completely to mean now pastors they get in trouble for speaking about doctrine. That's not the word I want to say. About important legislative policies. Freedom of speech. Boy, did we see that in COVID. They closed down churches, and pastors are afraid that they're going to lose their 503c designation if they say the wrong thing. And that's churches. In fact, all Americans, you should have freedom of speech, but certainly churches should have freedom of speech, and churches should be able to say, this candidate believes this, and this candidate believes this, or they don't believe it. And they should be able to declare, because they should be able to tell their people, don't vote for a candidate, vote the platform. What is that candidate running for?
You're looking to improve the infrastructure in your district. So where should the state start on that, and how can they pay for it?
Okay, obviously that's going to be paid for to a significant part by taxes. Corporations also that benefit from the infrastructure should have some responsibility. I've been listening to the lieutenant governor and what he is saying about the opportunities that this state has, particularly to name one, aerospace is just booming, and we are set up for aerospace, and our schools are set up for aerospace with OU and OSU, their aerospace departments. But some of that is going to require infrastructure, whether it be electrical, roads and bridges, just all the infrastructure required to build industry. So that is what I'm saying. We can look at maps and see, the city failed several times because we didn't have the infrastructure to support some of these big industries that were coming here. But MAPS has increased that in a great degree.
So do you believe that your district can elect a Republican, and do you think you can deliver for your constituents?
I really can. I'm a conservative, and my values are the same as a large percentage of our district. It's interesting when I go knocking doors and somebody answers, and typically we knock Republican, Independent, and Libertarian doors, and I tell them, I'm Charles Barton. I'm running for state senate in your district as a Republican. And many times when I say Republican, their eyes light up. And I say, you have not had a Republican candidate in 10 years. And they say, I know. So they haven't even had a choice in who they would vote for as senator. So I see that a lot, and the people, our team that knocks doors, see that a lot also.
What do you think the biggest issues that are facing Senate District 46?
Well, we've knocked over 45,000 doors, and without a question, the biggest issue in Senate District 46 has been education. And the fact that we have a state superintendent who is, derelict in his duties. He's not running the agency properly, and continues to be in the press every day. And people are tired of it. They want somebody to step up and do their job. So education by far is the number one issue.
This district has been Democratic leader Kay Floyd's district for 10 years now. And so she has really earned the respect of not just Democrats, but the entire chamber. So how do you, do you have a plan on kind of filling that void? And what do you think that kind of looks like?
Well, I think Kay's going to be a hard void to fill, obviously. But I think that the lesson that can be learned from Leader Floyd is you've got to work across the aisle, and you have to let everyone have a seat at the table and be heard. Doesn't mean you always have to agree with them, but you have to listen to them. And I think that is my style. It's been my style when I was on the Oklahoma City School Board, and that'll be my style at the legislature.
Is there any leadership from Floyd that you really want to emulate and, keep going if you were to win this seat?
Well, I think what I just said, just that open-mindedness, that we're going to sit down and listen to everybody and try to understand their point of view, take that into account before making decisions. And that's what she's done for her whole career, is listen to everybody out there, take that into account, and then make a decision moving forward. Obviously not always agreeing with every group, but I think that's the most important quality to emulate in her. And I think the most important quality that anybody serving in the Senate or the State House of Representatives can have.
Kind of one of the more difficult topics that we want to kind of talk about, especially with this being a democratically represented district for the last 10 years, is abortion. And in Oklahoma, do you believe that Oklahoma should repeal the bans that have gone in place? And what do your stance on that?
Yes, I absolutely believe the ban should be repealed. I'm pro-choice, period, without any caveats. That ironically is the number 2 issue, almost equal to public education, when we're on doors, not just with Democrats, but with Republicans. So absolutely, we need to repeal it. I don't know what the makeup of the House and Senate, if there'll be a repeal, but I think certainly if that doesn't happen, you're going to see a ballot initiative at some point in the future. And I'll be out fighting for it.
So you talked on how voters are concerned about education. Obviously, that is a huge topic in the state. So what do you think should be done, if anything, about Superintendent Ryan Walters? And is there anything on his agenda that you do support or that you do see fit, or is it all kind of politics?
I've not seen anything on his agenda that I support. And as best I can tell, his entire agenda is just politics. I think, unfortunately, he came into this job running for governor, and he has just tried to be on the news, on the front page of the paper every day, and he's managed to do it, and not in a good way. I think that obviously, and I don't say this lightly, I think that the dereliction of duty that he has overseen at the department rises to the level of impeachment and possible removal. I don't think you're going to get the Republicans in the House of Representatives to go down that road. So short of that, the 2 things that I think need to happen is the legislature should remove accreditation of schools and accreditation and teacher certification from under his purview, move it over to either the Education Quality Commission or over to teacher prep, so that he can't use those 2 things to weaponize. Because he has weaponized certification against teachers, accreditation against schools, and we have to get that away from him.
So I know you were on Oklahoma City Public Schools board. How long were you on that board?
7 years on the Oklahoma City board, and I worked 5 years for State Superintendent Sandy Garrett when she was in office.
Okay, so can you just tell me a little bit about your teaching background?
No, I'm not a teacher.
Okay.
My wife is an educator. My mother's an educator. 3 aunts are educators. I was director of school and community relations, so I dealt with outside groups that wanted to work with schools and coordinated that and coordinated professional development conferences.
Charles Barton, the Republican in this race, so he really wants to talk. He wants to improve infrastructure. So, what are your thoughts on that? Where should the state start, and how can we pay for it?
Absolutely. Well, infrastructure, Department of Transportation, which everyone thinks of roads and bridges, already has an 8-year plan. They've done that for years, and they fund that 8-year plan and work on projects. I think that we need to have more cooperation between Department of Transportation, Turnpike Authority, and local communities, whether it be county governments, city governments, and tribal governments, because they make investments in infrastructure and really create a longer, long-range plan than just 8 years, but maybe a 20 or 25-year plan on infrastructure. And for me, infrastructure is not just roads and bridges, it's digital. It's how do we conserve and manage our natural resources so that we know we can continue to have those things down the road. A lot of interesting discussions around that. But how do we pay for it? I mean, we've got a $2.5 billion surplus, and it's just about the same thing with education. We need more money in education. It's about setting priorities and putting money where it will actually affect the citizens of Oklahoma in the best way.
Do you think that this district, obviously, Kay Floyd ran it for 10 years. Do you think they can elect a Republican? And and if not, can a Democrat get it done for the constituents?
Well, the first, anything can happen. I don't think they're going to elect a Republican. We've been out at this for 18, 19 months. We've delivered our message. We've got our polling numbers. So I think we're going to be good going into November 5th. We're not going to take that for granted. But yes, I think a Democrat can deliver. You mentioned Leader Floyd earlier. We've got incoming leader Julia Kurt. I think they have demonstrated that they can deliver. Maybe not on all the things we want to deliver on, but on many things we can deliver on. And I think that goes back to having the attitude of letting everyone have a seat at the table, listen to what they have to say, attempt to understand them. And then as you're formulating your plans or your positions, I think you're going to find that there are places that we can work across the aisle, particularly with moderate Republicans, to get things done on infrastructure and healthcare and affordable housing and workforce development. Those are all things that I don't see as hugely partisan, that there's a huge opportunity to work on. And quite frankly, those are the things that affect everyday Oklahomans. We focus so much on things that don't affect the everyday life of the average family. And we need to get back to building the state from the middle out and the bottom up, and focusing on people and what really affects their life and their ability to provide a livelihood for their family on a daily basis.
What are the biggest issues you see facing your district, this 46th district?
Biggest issues facing District 46. Like most of Oklahoma, we have a lot of issues in our public education. We have a lot of money pouring into our district. It's one of the more lucrative districts in the state, but we still have a lot of people who suffer from homelessness and a lot of housing, a lot of lack of housing, affordable housing, and things like that. So that's really hitting our district. But our bigger goal, and that's facing our state, is a lack of voter turnout and a lack of voter participation. And even though our district is usually one of the more active, we also see a very low turnout sometimes. So I think me running was a way to show that they have options and choice, and hopefully get some more people out to the ballot.
Whoever wins this race will replace Kay Floyd, and she's been in that role for a decade. So she's really earned the respect of the entire chamber, not just Democrats, but Republicans as well. So how do you, is there any things you want to emulate of Kay Floyd, and kind of how do you feel like you can fill that void of her being out of the chamber?
Oh man, I don't know if anybody can really fill the shoes of Kay Floyd. She's done so much. She was elected, as in the House of Representatives, I believe, and then went into the Senate right after that, and then did not have a single election for the rest of her terms. So people loved her. They didn't want to run against her, and I think for me, running as an independent, I think I have an uphill battle on both sides of the political spectrum. But I think that gives me an opportunity to listen and not be pigeonholed into one platform or another. So To fill her shoes, I don't think that's possible, but to do my best to be a good listener and an active participant for our district, I think I can do that.
Obviously, with the overturning of Roe v. Wade, Oklahoma has decided to ban abortion. So do you, I just kind of want your stance on abortion, and should Oklahomans, the chamber repeal the bans, or how do you stand on the current bans they are in the state?
Well, I identify as a male, and I am not able to get pregnant. So I don't think that my view on abortion is really the most interested or unique for everybody. But uh, I believe that women should have the right to choose. Oklahoma made the choice to ban abortions before the overturning of Roe v. Wade. They made that very clear that if the opportunity became available, that they would do so, and that is exactly what happened. So this is not new news. It is not a shock to the state of Oklahoma, but I believe that this is one step in the direction that we don't want to see our citizens with less rights than they were when they were born.
Education is a big topic every day in Oklahoma. So basically, how do you feel about Ryan Walters' agenda? And if not, what do you think should be done about the state superintendent?
Oh, Ryan, Mr. Walters. His agenda is actually not very clear on what it is for education in the state of Oklahoma. He has a lot of moves and interests that don't necessarily speak to the Department of Education as a whole, but really to him personally and his religious beliefs. So I would be interested to see what he actually thinks about education in the state of Oklahoma and where we're at. I myself went to public school. I went to the University of Oklahoma, which is a state school, and I believe that it's a pillar in my life and where I am today. And it seems like a lot of current Oklahoma students and future Oklahoma students won't have as great of an opportunity to be successful in the direction that we're going right now.
The Republican candidate in this race, Charles Barton, he has been talking about improving infrastructure. So where should the state start, like in that district, and how can we pay for it?
Where can it start and how can we pay for it? Well, interesting. Oklahoma legislation is trying to put a vote to the people in this November about infrastructure and about bonds and things like that. But I think that that particular state question is very vague. And so we are not going to get exactly to the point of what infrastructure looks like for the legislature currently. In our district, there is a lot of money being spent to build up to the downtown and all of our new MAPS programs with a new stadium and a new soccer arena. But I think that a lot of people in our district don't have aren't as well organized and well funded enough to do basic things like fix their roads. But honestly, how we pay for it, we need to tax our people a little bit more. Oklahoma, we don't tax hardly at all, and the businesses also skirt by. And I feel like we're missing a lot of opportunity to help build not only infrastructure, but help our education, help workforce development in the state and in the region. And so yeah, I'd be interested in what Charles thinks as far as what infrastructure that he wants, because I know Del City, they don't get a lot of the fancy bells and whistles that we do in the downtown area, and I definitely would agree with that.
We talked about Kay Floyd been in the seat for 10 years. She's a Democrat. Do you think the district can elect a Republican or an independent? And can either of those seats, get it done for their constituents?
Yeah, I believe that this district is very, very capable of electing an independent or a Republican. Historically, for the last 35 years, a Democrat has held the seat in District 46. But it also has had a majority of Democratic voters in the district. After some redistricting and remapping, this is the first election where there's a majority Republican constituency who are registered to vote for this district. So I think that it can go either way. And in the Democratic primary, we saw a progressive in Sam Grimaldo who was gathering a lot of independent voters as well. To where it was a really close race between him and Mark Mann. About 200 votes was the deciding factor. And again, it all becomes a question of turnout. I know we just did a large purge in the state of Oklahoma where a quarter of our voters were taken off the rolls. And the deadline was October 11th to get re-registered for this upcoming election. So I hope that giving the people more of a choice between a three-way race instead of a two or a not voting election whatsoever, that we will get more people out, and then we'll see what the people actually want. When you have more choice, you'll see what the majority of people are interested in for their districts.
And what do you want to say to your constituents, to voters? Kind of your last final pitch. Why should they vote for you?
Well, when I started this campaign, we came out with some goals. And the main goal was, for me, was to file and become a candidate, which I have already successfully managed that goal. But really, the slogan and phrases that we say is, I want you to vote, even if it's not for me. Because at the end of the day, when more people vote, more things happen in our legislature. And if you don't vote, then you give less people more power to make decisions for you in the district. So for my district, I am here. I am not a political career person. I work in the theater. I work in a lot of events. You can see with all of my ballyhooing around in my video. But I'm here to listen, and I'm here to not make statements based on my personal thoughts and feelings, but to really listen to the constituents and what they're looking for. So vote for David or Charles or Mark. Just get out and vote, and we'll see what happens.